Today, I'm going to be going over Camino versus Placerville, California. I'm going to compare these two great communities via 8 critical criteria so you can decide which one's right for your family. This is another one of our town versus town videos. Let's get stuck right into it. Criteria number 1 when comparing these two towns is community vibe or feel. Now, look, these two towns are only 9-10 miles apart, but they have a very different feel. And this comes down to their downtowns. There is technically a little small downtown Camino, California, but it's a post office and a restaurant or two, and that's about it. And there's not a lot going on down there, and it isn't really a community hub where people come and gather and hang out. So Camino is much more rural, more spread out, and less of a focal point where people come and gather. Versus Placerville, we have our historic Gold Rush era downtown that is super charming. In fact, it wins one of the best small town downtowns in America all the time. Years ago, Benjamin Moore even came in and we won one of their contests and they helped repaint a big chunk of downtown. It really is a charming retro slice of Americana. If you haven't been there, you have to check it out. But there's also a ton of community gatherings that happen down there. Not to mention all the businesses and meeting spaces for people to go and do things, but all of the downtown gatherings like the Halloween parade, the Christmas parade, the tree lighting, the wine and beer fest, the classic car shows, Oktoberfest, you name it, we have got a party for it. And they shut down downtown at both ends so that you can walk the streets safely and everybody comes out and gathers there. It's also where you're going to come and meet somebody for a beer on Friday night to hang out with friends, have dinner, and connect. So that's really the major difference when it comes down to community vibe or feel. Camino is going to be more rural, more sleepy, more far-flung, and less gathering together with lots of people. Placerville, with its downtown, is going to be a lot more social interactions and a lot more gathering downtown. So if you're the kind of person who wants to be off in the woods by yourself and not bothered by anyone, Camino might be your jam. If you're the kind of person that wants to meet people on Friday night for cocktails or go to a cool event downtown with your kids, then Placerville might be the best place for your family. If you're getting anything at all in this video, hit the like button, click subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss another video with crucial information to help you with your relocation. Now, back to Camino versus Placerville. Criteria number 2 when comparing these two communities comes down to housing costs. Now, there's not a lot of difference between the median home cost in these two areas, but let's go through it because there is a difference in what you're going to get for the money. So the median home price as the recording of this video in the spring of 2025 in Placerville, California is $540,000. And the median home is around a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot home on about a half of an acre. Now, by contrast, the median home price in Camino as the time of the recording of this video is $555,000. So just $15,000 more. But what do you get for your $555,000 in Camino? Well, you get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,900 square foot home on around an acre. Now, in general, you are going to get a little bit more home for your money in Camino because it's a little bit farther out. The caveat to that is there are some agricultural properties in Camino, wineries, Christmas tree farms, pumpkin patches, those kinds of things that have a commercial component or an income component to them, and that's going to be totally different. But when it comes to your bread and butter family homes, you're going to get a little bit more for your money in Camino than you will in Placerville. Right about now, you're wondering who I am and why you should be listening to me about Camino, Placerville, real estate, or anything at all, really, and that's a fair question. My name is Rich Curtis with EXP Realty, and I've been selling homes here in Dorado County for over 20 years now, in markets ranging from the Great Recession to the COVID market insanity and everything in between. So when it comes to Dorado County real estate, I've got you covered. My goal with this channel is to help you make the best real estate decisions you can from the comfort of your couch. So to that end, let's jump right back into our comparison of Camino and Placerville so you can see which one fits best for your family. Criteria number 3 to evaluate these two communities comes down to size and population. And here there's a very big difference, but it kind of depends on how you parse the data. So if you look at just the city of Placerville, we're at about 5.8 square miles and just shy of 11,000 people. But if you look at the entire 95667 zip code of the greater Placerville area, then we're at a little over 36,000 people and just shy of 170 square miles. Either way you shake it though, both of those are massive compared to Camino. It really is a small town at 2.57 square miles and just shy of 2,000 people. So if you're the kind of person that wants really small town living, then Camino is going to be your jam. If you want a little more going on and a lot more people, then Placerville might be the best place for your family. Criteria number 4 when evaluating these two towns is schools. And this is a big deal for my parents watching. Now, if you're not a parent, then you can just skip ahead to the next criteria. But when it comes down to schools, there's a massive difference here. Camino has one school. That's it, Camino School. It is K-8, it is all of those grades, and it is the entire school district all in one building on one school site. Not one building, pardon me, one school site. And that's it. That's all of it. That's all of your choice. If you want anything else, any other kinds of schools of choice, you're gonna have to go down the hill to Placerville, to Shingle Springs, to Cameron Park, to El Dorado Hills. Either way, you're gonna have to be taking the kids out of town for any kind of schooling other than the public schooling happening at Camino School. Now, don't get me wrong, Camino School is a great school and there's really dedicated, great teachers there, but that's it. That's your only option. Now, there is no option when it comes to high school in Camino. So you're coming down the hill to Placerville. It's not that big of a deal. Placerville is only about 10 miles away, so it's not that big of a commute for school, but just know there isn't a high school there for you. So if you've got high school age kids, that may be a deciding factor for you. Or if you're a family that has a specific type of educational track you've got your kids on, if you're a Waldorf family, if you're a Montessori family, if there's some other kind of specific charter school style that you like, that's just not going to be on offer in Camino. Now, Placerville has a lot wider selection in that it has a bunch of different public schools, several elementary schools, several middle schools, and a high school available to you. So if you are worried about having more public school options, Placerville is the place for you. When it comes down to homeschooling, we have a pretty robust support structure for homeschooling in all of El Dorado County, but Camino being a small place, there's gonna be less pods and less socialization options for your homeschool kids than there would be down in Placerville. Now, some of our other schools of choice, things like Montessori, Waldorf, and those sorts of things are gonna happen even further down the hill in Shingle Springs. So whether you choose Placerville or Camino, you're gonna have to commute for those types of schools. You're just gonna have to commute further if you're in Camino. But this is a big deciding factor for some of you, and for some of you, one school and one school only will be a deal breaker. If by the end of this video you still aren't sure if Camino is right for you or Placerville, or you're trying to get a read on some of the other towns here in the foothills, feel free to reach out to me via the contact information on your screen or in the description down below. Like I said, I've been selling homes here for over 20 years now, and I've helped hundreds of families just like yours decide where to land in El Dorado County, and I'm always happy to help. All right, let's get right back into our 8 criteria for evaluating Camino versus Placerville and see if one of these towns is where you want to move next. Criteria number 5 when evaluating these two towns is fire insurance. And look, this is going to be bad, frankly, in either place. Fire insurance is a big deal. It's a big deal here in the foothills. It's a big deal statewide in California. You're going to deal with this in the Oakland Hills. You're going to deal with this in Malibu and Palisades after the big fires. We're only, as of recording this video, a few months out from those devastating fires down there. No matter how you slice it, in California, fire insurance is a big deal. Now, in Placerville, there are still traditional carriers open to you, but it's going quick. There's not a lot open to you, and there'll be less and less as we go along. So a lot of Placerville is still having to go with the California Fair Plan. Most, if not all, of Camino is going to have to go with the California Fair Plan. So very similar in that regard. And in both places, you should assume around a $6,000 annual premium for your hazard insurance is going to be the bare minimum, and it's real easy to get over $9,000 and $10,000. Now, if you have a big, huge custom home on acreage that's very expensive, it's not unusual to see policies in the $20,000 or above range for something like that. Now, Camino is going to be a little bit worse than Placerville. Placerville has been designated, a lot of it as a fire-wise community, so you get a little discount for that. And also, Camino is just further flung and deeper in the trees, and so often ends up having higher premiums. So it'll be a little bit more expensive in Camino than it will be in Placerville, but this is going to be an issue either way. Now remember, when you go California Fair Plan, you're just getting your fire coverage from then. All of your other coverage has to come through a separate policy. So there's 2 policies, and like I said, minimum, the combined of those 2 policies will be around $6,000, and not unusual at all to get $9,000 or $10,000 premiums. Now, is there help on the horizon for this? not right now, really, especially with the LA fires having just come through. I think it's likely that this gets worse before it gets better and that we're going to need a legislative solution out of Sacramento to solve this problem. So if you're going to move to this area, you just have to know I'm going to have high fire insurance premiums, and that's going to increase the cost of my monthly mortgage because, of course, most of you will get a loan to buy your home. And when you get a loan, you'll have an impound account whereby your lender or your servicer pays your taxes and insurance for you as part of your monthly mortgage payment. So when you make your monthly mortgage payment, you're paying a full PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment. And the insurance component of that payment is going to be much larger in a place like Placerville or Camino than it would be in a place like San Jose or Cupertino. So if you're relocating to this area, this is something you need to know about. If you want more information about this, feel free to reach out to me via the contact information on your screen or in the description down below, and I can really walk you through what's going on in terms of fire insurance up here. But no matter how you slice it, this affects both communities and it's something you need to know before moving here. Criteria number 6 is snow. Now look, depending on which way you go on this, Placerville gets the win in terms of snow or Camino gets the win in terms of snow. It depends on whether you like snow. If you like snow, Camino gets the win. Camino's at 3,000 feet above sea level. It is our snow line for the area. In most significant storms, Camino will get some snow. Now, it's only a few times a year that Camino gets enough snow to be really inconvenient. So there may be a few days a year that you're gonna have to shovel out or wait for a plow or get out the snowblower or just stay at home for a couple of days and let it melt off. But it's really a couple of days. It's not like Pollock Pines just up the hill where you're over 4,000 feet and you get 4-foot snowdrifts that last for several weeks at a time. That's real snow country up there. Camino is enough to be fun and just enough to be inconvenient a few times a year. But if you like snow and you don't want to be in the real deep snow, Camino is kind of that sweet spot. Now, if you don't really like snow, Placerville gets the win all day long. In Placerville, only in big winters do we get snow, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. It's almost never enough to be inconvenient. In fact, I've lived here 30 years and once ever we got snowed in for like 3 days. And it was, the year that it was snowing on the beach in Santa Cruz. So in Placerville, you get enough snow for it to be fun every now and again for the kids, but not enough snow to be inconvenient or to affect your daily life. So depending on how you approach snow, that'll decide which community gets the win on snow for you. Camino, enough snow to get inconvenient every now and again. Placerville, just enough to be fun, not enough to be inconvenient. Criteria number 7 to evaluate Camino versus Placerville is recreation. And I mean outdoor recreation. Now, for the most part, both of these communities, being just 10 miles apart, can access all of the same recreation. So they're both kind of going to get the win here, with a few notable exceptions. All right, if you're a golf person, Camino gets the win there. Camino has Apple Mountain Golf Course. It's amazing. Certainly you can access it from Placerville too. Like I said, it's only 10 miles away, but that is really the only public golf course within a reasonable drive of either of these two towns, and it's a gorgeous one in a gorgeous mountain setting. If you're a golfer, you'll absolutely love it. You got to check out Apple Mountain Golf Course. But if you want to live in a place where you can pop right over and quickly get to a golf course, then Camino is absolutely for you. When it comes to outdoor recreation, technically I think Placerville gets the win there just because it's a little bit closer. You have access to the put-in for the upper run on the South Fork of the American River. This is for your whitewater kayaking and whitewater rafting. You have quick access down to Coloma, 10 to 15 minutes for the takeout for that run, or the put-in for the Lower Gorge run for the South Fork of the American River for more whitewater fun. You have quick access to Coloma and Lotus for a ton of mountain biking, which is really, really great down there. You have quick access to the Rails to Trails trail here in town Placerville. You can actually ride up to the very bottom of Camino, or you can ride downhill all the way 40 plus miles to Folsom if you really want to on that Rails to Trails trail. So you have access to all of that in Placerville. You have the bike park in Placerville. You have the community center in Placerville that has the swimming pool and water slide and the little splash park for the kids. So I think Placerville wins in terms of recreation, but it is important to know that Camino's just 10 minutes away, so you can access all of that from either place. So I think really when it comes down to recreation, the deciding factor for you is going to be if you're a golf nut. If you're a golf nut, then Camino is for you. Criteria number 8, and the last criteria on our list, but certainly not the least important by any means, is employment. Now look, far and away, Placerville gets the win here in terms of employment. However, like I said, Camino's just 10 minutes away, and it's a nice, easy, non-trafficy commute just downhill on Highway 50. So all of the employment in Placerville is also available to you if you live in Camino. So I don't see this as a real important deciding factor unless you're the kind of person that really wants to live close to work, maybe walking distance or biking distance to work. That's not going to be on offer at all in Camino, and in limited supply that is going to be on offer in Placerville. So let's talk about it. Camino, essentially no jobs unless you're working from home. There are a couple Forest Service stations up there, so there might be some Forest Service or CAL FIRE work, on offer actually within Camino, but that's going to be about it. There are those couple of restaurants. You could work at those, but that's about it. Now, Placerville, by contrast, is the county seat of Dorado County. We have all of the county buildings and county jobs right there in Placerville. So that's a lot of jobs. We have a lot more schools. Camino has the one school. We have a lot of schools. So there's a lot of education jobs in Placerville. We have the hospital, Marshall Hospital, and all of the associated doctor's offices and medical suites and everything else around that feed and service the hospital. And so there are a lot of medical jobs on offer in Placerville. And of course, we have a robust self-employed community here in the Foothills as well. There are a lot of entrepreneurs here, which is something I love about the Foothills, being an entrepreneur myself. Because there's not a ton of jobs on offer from traditional sources, there are a lot of people that work for themselves up here, and there's some really great support and neat opportunities to network with people like that. Even right up to people in the movie business. We are a county that is frequently used as a movie set because we are just so absolutely gorgeous. The Foothills here on the western slope of the Sierras are gorgeous, and as such we have cameramen and sound engineers and editors and those kinds of people far-flung who live up here and work remotely in those industries as well. So far and away, if you want to live and work in the same community, Placerville gets the 100% win here, but do be advised that Camino is just 10 minutes up the hill, and if you're willing to do a 10-minute drive, you can live in Camino and have all the jobs on offer in Placerville as well. All right, that wraps up our comparison of Camino versus Placerville, and I hope this has given you a good idea of which community might be best for your family. And if you saw any deal breakers on this list, I'm really happy that this has helped you maybe rule out a community. Now, if you want to take a deeper dive, you can click this video right here for my pros and cons of living in Placerville, or you can click this video right here for my pros and cons of living in Camino. And if you want to see other Foothills towns compared in a head-to-head battle just like this one, you can click this playlist right down here for my town versus town playlist. Either way, thanks for watching, thanks for making it to the end with me, and I'll see you on the next one.